recording now. Perhaps you. Good morning, Dietmar. How are you keeping?
Good morning, Jim. Yeah, I'm fine. Obviously, put a bit of weight on, but due to the having to stop indoors type of thing, but trying to do a bit of exercise, and yeah, I'm feeling quite good.
Good, good. Well, let's hope it won't be too long before we can get out and about a bit more.
Oh, I can't wait. I think it's the same with everybody. They're getting a little bit frustrated now, Jim. But the one good thing I must say is that because we're having such a good spell of warm weather, if it had been the other way around and raining, I think we'd have gone absolutely doolally indoors all the time. So that's one good, nice grace.
So perhaps we can talk about your career with Coventry City.
Yeah.
You had a long career at the club.
Yeah.
Perhaps you could talk about how you came to join the club.
Yeah, sure, yeah. Well, to be honest with you, I was actually being kind of watched from the age of 9 when I was at Christ King School. I played for the school side, and obviously Billy Frith's chief scout came to 1 or 2 of the games, and obviously watched me, and then they continued to kind of watch me, and then I then signed on schoolboy forms with Coventry City Football Club, and that enabled me to go 2 nights a week up to Highfield Road, and we used to do training. Used to train with the pros, the ones that obviously couldn't train in the daytime, and obviously that's when I first got to meet Mick Kearns and George Curtis, because obviously them being in the forces, so they obviously obviously used to go on a Tuesday and a Thursday to do their bit of training. So that's the first time I met the 2 of them. That was great fun. And then when I left school, I signed on apprentice forms. They introduced a new scheme, the Football Association, and you became an apprentice for 3 years, Jim. And what that entailed is that obviously you trained with the club. Obviously you had to do loads of jobs for the rest of the time. But a stipulation was you had to go to college and obviously choose whatever you wanted to choose. And I basically chose to be a reporter. So the ironic part about it was that I went for shorthand and typing. And I really enjoyed it, Jim, because I was the only guy in the class. Everybody else was female. But the only problem was when you were doing the typing, and obviously you were learning, teaching me how to obviously touch type. So you couldn't look at the screen. You had to just look at they used to give you kind of a page, and obviously you used to kind of type or put that in and read in the actual script, rather than keep looking at the screen to make sure that you don't miss mistakes. And she had a tendency to kind of stand over me, over my shoulder, and kind of watch me. So I thought, this is putting me under a lot of pressure. So I got learning this technique where it's kind of, although my head was kind of turned to the left and I was reading the script, I was obviously sneakily looking at the screen at the same time. So it worked quite well, to be honest with you. But it was really fantastic, because at the beginning I worked in the office with Iris, but after about 3 months, I was obviously getting a bit fed up, because the rest of the apprentices, we'll say ground staff, obviously they were all together and like doing the dressing rooms after training and various sweeping the stands and that. So I asked Billy Frith if obviously could I basically go out and do the same as the rest of the lads, which obviously he said yes. And then obviously I went out and I got involved with all the squad. In actual fact, I think we had 16 apprentices at the time, Jim.
Wow.
And it was great, because we used to kind of go go. We used to set all the dressing rooms up with all the gear, the training gear, and the players came in, and then we go up to Shilton, where we used to train up at Walsgrave in Shilton. So we went up with the cars, and then we used to do our training there. Then we came back, and then what our job then was obviously to pick up all the gear, take it down to the laundry, and then obviously clean the dressing rooms out, and then we would then get further jobs to do, and it was always kind of interesting. And the role that we also had to do was on Saturdays, when we came, obviously we could play either played in the A team or the B team, and we got back to Highfield Road, then we would basically have to go and, if it was a home game, we'd have to go and sweep the stands. And occasionally, when the pitch wasn't a very good pitch, as you well know, we'd finish up having to roll the pitch after the game. So we did numerous jobs. And one of the most interesting job was on a Friday, obviously with the boots and like how it's changed. We used to, obviously we had a rota system, and then every other Friday, I was in the boot room, and once the training session was finished, and then all the players would come in once they'd found out what the team was, and they would then tell me what size studs they wanted for the Saturday's game. Yeah. And then in those days, you just had the little leather pieces, round pieces, and then you just kind of built them up. And then you used to get the old little nails and just hammer them in, and that was it. Yeah. The times have changed.
So how much were you paid as an apprentice?
Well, we started off. It was 10 shillings a week, right? And then I got a raise at Christmas, so it was 10 shillings and 5 pence. I got a 5 penny rise at Christmas. So it's just, when I think back, I think like 10 shillings. It's just unbelievable. And then we used to get in a wage packet. So and then I then progressed. I was obviously doing quite very well. So I went from the B team, which was, I tell you what, we played in the Works League, the Coventry Works League, Jim. And I tell you what, it was a really, really top class league, and it's very, very hard. Some good players, but because we were obviously apprentices, one of the problems were you had to be very careful, because they had the tendency to kind of want to, if you kind of went past them, then they wanted to kind of clobber you and just put you out of the game.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of just making sure that the one good thing was obviously we were all a lot quicker, so we managed to avoid serious injury. And then I got promoted to the A team. Now that was a really good league because it was all around the West Midlands, Darlington, Kidderminster and all that. And then slowly progressed to the reserves, and things were really going well for me all the time. And then I probably remember, Jim, I made my first debut under Billy Frith. I think it was on a Friday night against Swindon.
Yeah.
And
28th of April, 1961.
Right, great. So I didn't disgrace myself. I didn't do bad, but I didn't kind of shine, which I really wanted to,
Yeah.
But it was an experience. And then on the Saturday, I think we were talking early in the week, Jim, when we were talking about the pink, the pink that came out on a Saturday.
Yeah.
So I went down to the paper shop waiting for the pink, obviously to read the report. And like Nemo, which was Derek Henderson, which was a Coventry City reporter, he didn't give me a slating, but he didn't really give me a really good kind of report. And I felt absolutely horrible. And I finished, I didn't I didn't dare go out. I didn't go out all that weekend in case anybody recognised me. So that was my first experience with the press. But
So you were just 17 then.
that's right. Yes. Yeah.
So you were, I think you were the second at the time. You were the second youngest debutant for the club after George.
I think so. Yes. Yeah. Well, you would know more about that than me, Jim. You know.
Do you remember who was in the Swindon team?
Yeah. Well, I remember I'll tell you what. I remember the three of them, and there was Mike Summerby.
Yeah.
Was on the right wing, and a guy called Rogers was on the left wing, and I think I remember a guy called Trollope. I think he was a fullback. Am I right?
There's somebody more famous to Coventry fans than those three.
And Ernie was playing.
Ernie played, yes.
Did he? I don't. I tell you,
scored.
I think it's coming back to me now. Yeah, because I remember when Ernie came when we signed him from Everton, and that's right. Coming back to me now, Jimmy. First thing when he looked at me, he says, "Oh, it's not you again, is it?
Yeah.
You knocked skills out of me many years ago." But I mean, like the Rogers was on the left wing, and I was basically marking him. And I tell you what, he was a good player, and Mike Summerby. They were a good side, but they're the three that, well, plus now Ernie, that I remember more than anybody else.
So was it back to the reserves after that? Well, that was near the end of the season, wasn't it?
No, I think it was the last game of the season, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, just about.
Yeah.
The following season. Well, whose place did you take in the side? Do you remember?
Let me think.
Was it Mick Kearns or?
No.
You were a halfback to begin with, weren't you?
Yeah, I played midfield. Yeah. Too much I can't remember. Jim. So I think because it was the end of the season, I suppose it was just to give me a bit of experience.
Yeah. So the following.
But then, yeah.
So you weren't. I don't think you were a full professional, were you, at that stage?
No. I was still an apprentice.
Yeah.
You see, your apprenticeship finished with the age of 18.
Yeah.
So the thing that basically was a worrying thing of the season, whereby, when I became 18 in April, was whether or not I was good enough to sign pro or basically say cheerio.
Yeah.
And I didn't make it. So I mean, we're talking in terms of, let's say we had 16 guys that were basically the same as me, and I was one of the few that obviously made it. I mean, always remember that when Billy Frith got the sack, and they got beat 2-1 at home in the FA Cup against Kings Lynn.
Yeah.
And then obviously, like I was saying, we got back from Shilton. We played at Shilton. We got back, and our job basically was then to clean the dressing rooms after the game. And of course, the fact that we got beat against Kings Lynn, I mean, the atmosphere was absolutely horrendous. It was frightening. I went to go into part of my job was to go into I went into the medical room to obviously clean up, and I remember Peter Hill. Peter was on the treatment table having treatment, and God bless Lol, he was also in the treatment room. God bless him. And I finished up getting a right rollick and told me to get out the dressing room and get another job done. And of course, Billy Frith was in there as well. So you can imagine that you know, what the situation was. So, and I always remember when they eventually sacked him, and we were playing down against Crystal Palace in the reserves.
Wasn't it?
And
I thought
Peter
it was
Hill,
Brighton.
was it Brighton?
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Sorry, Brighton in the reserves. Yeah, Brighton, and obviously Peter, and the weather finished up being quite foggy, and Peter was too frightened to get in touch with the club or take the responsibility of booking us up in a hotel. So we literally travelled all the way back. It took us 6 hours from Brighton. So we finished up basically on the coach all night. And when we eventually got to Highfield Road, got home and went to bed. And of course, the next thing I got this knocking on the door, because those days, you know, we didn't have a phone. And it was one of the neighbours from across the road knocked on the door and told me that Jimmy Hill, that Billy Frith had been sacked, and Jimmy Hill was our new manager. And of course, then we got relayed through that we got to report to the ground at 2:30 that afternoon. So obviously we all got there at 2:30, and obviously Dave Robbins was there, and he introduced Jimmy to us all, and he kind of outlined what type of things he wanted and what we had to do, and then he suggested, or should I say, more or less demanded, that we all got changed and we finished having a practice match on the pitch for 3/4 of an hour.
Yeah.
So that was a great introductory to how things went. It was absolutely incredible. It was.
Yeah.
And,
so what did you going back to Billy Frith? What did you make of Billy Frith? He obviously was a big influence because he gave you your first.
Oh yes, yeah.
chance.
I had a lot of respect for him. I always have. And he was what you call a true gentleman, you know. And I don't think for while I was there, he never in his team talks were good. He never swore. He never ever lost his temper in any shape or form, and he was really truly gentleman. And of course, obviously, he was I think he was a school teacher, wasn't he, before he became manager at Coventry City?
Yeah.
So yeah, I had a lot of respect for him, and to be quite honest with you, thanks to him, I started obviously with the chance of becoming a professional footballer, which I always wanted. What I wanted to do from the age of 8 or 9, Jim, I used to get in so much trouble with my parents because I used to organise games. And when we finished school, on the way home there was a kind of bit of a green, and we used to bring a ball with us, and we used to go and have a game on our green, on this particular green, and then we asked the neighbours if we could play on it. There's about 6 of us. Always finish up coming back. Oh, he's in a school uniform, with great trousers and everything, and then the shirts. And I always finish up. My mother used to always give me right turn up because when I finished up all my school trousers, great trousers, they're always dirty, when I come home from school. So she had to wash them and dry them, and God knows what. But I always say, any spare time I had, I used to play with the ball. I used to do an imaginary football game in the garden, and there used to be pick 2 teams, and I'd be going up and down the garden, and the flowers and then the garden just went absolutely pear-shaped, and then obviously I'd have 2 little goals sort of thing. So I just imagine, and I even for myself a little league, and I thought, this is unbelievable. But yeah, I was just yeah, and then my dad always used to take me up on a Saturday, and I'm sure he did this on purpose. he'd get me doing different functions, and one of the things was like heading a ball. So you can imagine the big heavy ball in those days, you know, with the laces. So he'd have me doing a good hour and a half, just constantly heading the ball and jumping up to the highest point, you know. And it start off with I was heading the ball from all directions, all parts of my head, you know. And I'd always finish up coming home and having a really violent headache. I would obviously, he kind of said, well, you go and lie down and I'll put cold flannel across your forehead. And I'm sure he did that to make sure I didn't go out on a Saturday night. But he was, I mean, he was so proud of me, and he just basically he just loved it, and he helped me a hell of a lot, and take me out, you know, any times, and just general training and do a bit of exercises and different skills. I mean, from an early age, I was quite fortunate. So it said basically it was make me put a slipper on my right foot because I was right-footed, and then a boot on my left foot, and he just basically constantly kicking the balls with my left foot, so I could kick with both feet. So yeah, it was exciting time.
What do you think you'd do? What do you think you'd have done if you hadn't been taken on as a full-time professional at the end of your?
Well, I say I'd done the shorthand and typing, and obviously I basically.
You could have been the new Nemo.
Well, yeah, because yeah, if I hadn't been qualified, then I would have basically, I'd have tried to obviously get in touch with the Telegraph and see if there's any, you know, as a reporter, but as it turned out, I didn't need that because obviously I was fortunate to. But what did concern me was once Jimmy Hill came along, I'd only got 3 months of my contract as an apprenticeship.
Yeah.
So it was a matter of would I impress him enough to become a pro at the end of the season. And
I guess that was a fear for a lot of people in the club then, wasn't it?
That's right. Yeah. I mean, one of the things, Jim, that I'd like to mention with one of the players was Bobby. Jimmy, Billy Frith got rid of Bobby Gould.
Yeah.
And obviously, when Jimmy basically became manager, Bobby wrote into Jimmy Hill and asked him for a trial, and obviously put down that he was an apprentice at the club, but obviously got turned down. So Jimmy invited him obviously for a practice, to see how he was, and well, the rest was history with Bobby. You know, Jimmy signed him, and he just went on from getting goals and God knows what, which was brilliant. But the first game was down at Portsmouth, and Jimmy was obviously he was due to get married to his late wife Heather Hill. Yeah. Heather. So he came down to Fratton Park and watched the game with obviously Heather. And I must admit, I had a blinder. And during that period, Jim, I seemed to strike lucky in as far as I was really playing well, performing well, and everything I seemed to do was just going right for me. And 6 or 7 games down the line, he called me in and he put me in the first team against Watford down at Vicarage Road.
Yeah.
And went down there, played well, won 1-0. And what he did then, he brought me into, because Jimmy introduced what he called a first team squad.
Right.
So he basically introduced me and he put me into the first team squad, and he would play me, not drop me, but leave me out. And I think I finished up until the end of the season. I think I finished playing about 10 or 11 games. And obviously that was then the end of the season, and then the big crunch come. Was I or was I going to make it? And he called me into the office. I think it was the last game of the season. I can't remember whether it's home or away, Jim. But then on the Monday, obviously tying everything down, he called me into his office, and I was shaking. I really was shaking. And he sat me down, and he asked me a few questions, and one of them was, how did I feel the fact that his apprenticeship was finished, and how do you think that I did, and my feelings and one thing or another. And then like normally carry on talking. Then he says, okay, right, he says, just quiet and listen. And I thought, this is it, that's it. He says, right, I'm getting in touch with your parents, and I want them to come into the office and arrange it, and I'm going to sign you on professional forms. I was just stunned, and I went, oh. I said, right, thank you very much, because we finished up. Obviously, I forgot to tell you, when we first, the meeting we had, he kind of said that, right, I don't want to be called Mr. Hill, the boss. Jimmy, you call me JH. So that was instructions. But because me being an apprentice, to train the next day, I'd got a dentist appointment. So I went up to him and says, excuse me, Mr. Hill. And he turned around and he says, were you listening to that meeting? So I said, yeah. He says, what did I say about Mr. Hill? I said, oh, yeah, JH. I said, but obviously I'm just an apprentice, and out of respect, that's the way I've been taught. So he says, okay, fine. But you call him Mr. Hill again. He says, no, I'll suspend you. It's JH. So after that, obviously, yeah, it was always JH. So I said to him, and going out, I said, thank you very much, JH, much appreciated. And I went out of his office and along the corridor, and I went, just like that, couldn't believe it. And I was in tears. And I obviously got a bus home, and I was just, I was just elated.
Presumably,
and then
presumably some of your fellow apprentices didn't make the grade, and they left, did they?
That's right. Yes. Yeah. I mean, like, there was a couple of Brummies, like there's Colin Older, guy called Trump. I can't remember it, but I mean, I think I was the only one that obviously out of the 16 that actually made it, Jim.
Wow.
So, but I had a really that 3 months before finished my apprenticeship. I just had a unbelievable run. As I say, everything that I did just turned to pure gold. Yeah. And I was buzzing, really buzzing.
So then the following season, it was the first season in Sky Blue, and
yeah,
had a great league run and a great cup run.
Yeah.
And you were really a regular almost, weren't you?
That's right. Yes. Yeah.
24 league games.
Yeah.
4 in the FA Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The famous 1963 cup run, Jim. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So do you want to talk about the cup run?
Yeah. Yeah. It got to a stage where like myself and Ronnie Farmer, we were great buddies, and if you look, it's all 99% all team photos, and noticed that about 2 years ago, and I said to Ronnie, we've always been on the team photo, him and I together. Just absolutely unbelievable. Get as many team photos as you can, and look at the teams, and there's me and Ronnie together. Well, it was touching. Him and I kept swapping places, and I always remember we were playing Portsmouth, and it was home and away. So I think we played at home. Played at home, and Jimmy, I think Ronnie Farmer played at Highfield Road, and we drew 2-2. Now, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And then we went down. Am I right? You played? Was it at home? We drew 2-2.
And
so then we had to go.
Then you went to Portsmouth for the replay.
Yeah. So I played.
Oh no, hang on. The first game was at Portsmouth, and you
that's
played,
right. Yes, yeah.
And you didn't play in the replay.
That's it. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. And obviously, I played down at Portsmouth.
Yeah.
Now, Portsmouth is one of my worst grounds ever. I absolutely had a rubbish game. And every time we played at Pompey, it was always the same. Even when I played down at Charlton, for some reason, I don't know. But anyway, so on the return, Ronnie played at Highfield Road. And what did we draw? Was it
2-2 draw, I think. Yeah.
2-2 draw again.
Yeah.
So then we had to play down at White Hart Lane, because in those days, third replay, it was on a neutral ground.
Yeah.
So we went down to White Hart Lane, and then he put me back in the side.
Yeah.
So I played at Tottenham, and we won 2-1. And then so got us through to the next round. So who did we play after that, Jim? Can you tell? Do you know?
Well, then it was that was on the Monday night.
Yeah.
And then it was on the Tuesday. Then the league game against Crystal Palace, and then the following Monday was the Sunderland game.
That's right. Yeah. Well, if you remember, Jim, that's right. On this Saturday we played the Palace, and if you remember, the pitch was really like concrete. We hadn't had any rain or anything. It was all bare patches.
Yeah.
And it was an absolute awful game. The balls bouncing one thing and another. And I think we got a draw that day, did we?
1-0.
We won 1-0.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were playing Sunderland on the Tuesday night, weren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. So as normal, every home game we would go meet at the ground at 12 o'clock, and then we'd go down in the coach down to the Leofric for a pre-match meal, team talk and everything. Then we'd relax. And then when we come to the ground, then we would kind of get changed, do a warm up on the pitch, get our kit on, and then Jimmy would just kind of say a few words just before we used to go out. Well, on the Tuesday night when we got to the ground, we still didn't know the team. Normally he announces the team at the Leofric, and it was I think it was 10-7 when he called us in, and he announced the team, and it wasn't until then that we knew what the team was. But when we got to the ground, what we couldn't believe was the actual pitch was nearly waterlogged. It only had the fire brigade come around about 4:30 to water the pitch, because he felt that we had a better chance of it being muddy with the skillful players that Sunderland had, right? Would give us a more even chance of possibly getting the result. It's unbelievable, it was. It's incredible, yeah. And that was that was an unbelievable night. I mean, you talk in terms of, you got the crowd, the supporters were sitting all around, the track around the pitch.
Mm.
So to be honest with you, talking about health and safety, I mean that there was just non-existent in on that particular time. And also when we got promotion, when we with Wolves, I mean, supporters were hanging on the floodlights and everything, and that day. And I remember, well, when I hit that tremendous shot from 35 yards and it went right in the top corner, and I just kind of put my hands in the air, and the next thing I knew, I was flat down on my face on the pitch where the supporters come straight onto the pitch and literally just lay on top of me. It was unbelievable. Fantastic scenes, and well, it obviously made me in as far as scoring one of the goals, and obviously George getting the winner. Well, it's about 6 minutes to go, and it was just unbelievable. And of course, then, as you know, on the Saturday we played Man United.
Yeah.
And again, that day it was absolutely tremendous rains. God knows what. The pitch was flooded, ankle deep in mud. And unfortunately, we got beat 3-1. And no, I wasn't to blame for the third goal, Jim. It was Bob Weston. I called him to come out. So I'll put my hand up. Him and I obviously were both responsible, because I waited for him and he waited for me. And of course, we were 2-1 down then, but that was the third goal, so that was us finished,
Yeah. But that must have been a fantastic. What were your feelings before the game, playing against a team like Man United?
Oh, we're so excited. I mean, realistically, we felt really confident, because two things was with the fact that we were buzzing, but the second most important thing was the pitch obviously was virtually flooded and it was deep in mud. So we thought, well, hey, we've got chances. We did it to Sunderland, so why couldn't we do it to United? But the one guy, obviously, we kind of curtailed the really dangerous guys, but the one fella that we forgot to even worry about was obviously Bobby.
Yeah.
I mean, he hit two crackers from about 25, 35 yards.
Yeah.
So, but years back, when I was manager, just diverting it, when I was manager at Redditch, we were playing in the East Midlands Floodlit competition, and we were drawn against Crewe Alexandra. So we went up to Crewe to play, and Harry Gregg was the manager.
Right.
And obviously Harry was in goal that day in the cup.
Yeah.
And if you remember, Terry Bright scored a goal and it was disallowed.
Yeah.
When
it was 1-0, when we were leading 1-0.
That's right. Yeah. Or was it? Did it hit the post or something?
No, it was disallowed. It's a disallowed goal.
It was a disallowed goal.
Yeah.
Offside,
I think.
That's it. Yeah. Well, when after the game at Crewe, he called me into his office to have a glass of wine, and I thought, glass of wine? What's all this about? And obviously, Fergie used to do that. So I said, yeah, okay. So drop of wine and having a good old chat. And he was saying to me that he felt a bit sorry for us, because at one stage, because he felt that goal should have been allowed.
Yeah.
But the one thing was, he down the slip. He says, "Well, the referee was a good friend of mine." He says. I says, "You are." He said, I'm not saying anything, but he says, "Yeah, we knew one another very well. We've known each other for years." And I thought, "Oh, great."
Oh, was it the ref from Doncaster, where Harry Gregg played?
Yes.
Ah.
Yeah, I'm almost sure. Yeah, I think you're right there, Jim. Yeah.
Oh,
so but yeah, it's
well, you look at that United lineup that day. They had Pat Creran, Maurice Setters, Bill Phelps, Johnny Giles, Quicksall, Dennis Law,
yeah,
Bobby Charlton. You know,
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
just
Was
full of
was
stuff.
Noel was Noel the left back? Noel Campbell.
No, Tony Dunn was left back.
Oh right, yeah.
Um,
But yeah, it was. We felt quite choked when we came in, you know, and we felt a little bit unlucky, and then, like say, the third goal obviously killed us off. But yeah, it was a good run. It was a very good run. And of course, it's 2 years after that, they got beaten non-league sides, didn't we?
the
When Snoz was manager there, was it Sutton and what was the other side that we got beat non-league after that?
Northampton beat them, didn't they, when they were
Northampton, yeah.
But just going back to that, the year '63, when
Yeah.
football was really affected by the weather. You had that dreadful winter. City
Oh,
didn't
that's
play
right.
for
Yeah,
2
yeah,
months.
yeah.
Jimmy
But
had this great idea to
didn't we
take you
have
to Ireland.
Yeah, Jim, didn't we? Wasn't it the fact that we got Lincoln in the FA Cup?
That's
Was
right.
that it?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
third
Yeah.
round.
Before,
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, but then we go on.
The snow came, didn't it? And
That's
City
right.
didn't play for over 2 months.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But JH had this idea of taking you to Ireland.
That's right. Yeah. And there was, I think, I think with the Wolves, Wolverhampton, and Man United, they went over there.
That's right.
And yeah, we went over there, and I tell you what, it was unbelievable. And you think how bad it was in England, and then obviously over in Ireland, and we played 3 games. We played 3 games there, Jim. Yeah.
Yeah.
One was in Cork. Is that right?
Yeah, we played Wolves in Cork.
Yeah.
We played
Then we went
United in Dublin.
In Dublin,
and then another game with Wolves in Belfast.
That's right. Yeah. The one that we went in Cork. We went to the distilleries. They took us to the distilleries, right? And I tell you what, hey, unbelievable. They looked after us like nothing on this earth. Yeah. And by the time that we come out of distillery, they took us all into the big boardroom, you know, the business, and obviously they kind of had a chat to us and everything, and then they would give us little tots to taste and one thing and another, and then obviously we got back on the coach and went to the hotel. But yeah, it was. Was
this before the game or after the game?
No. This was a day off that we had, so it's not a problem. We had the day off, so we got invited. Well, the club got invited, so we all went to the distilleries, like, you know, which was a nice experience. Yeah, it was good. But they
didn't you give United a bit of a game in Dublin?
Yes, yeah, we really played well. We played well in Dublin. But I think, you see, I mean, we were on quite a run, and we really felt confident in every game that we played.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the guy that brought all this, Jimmy, he just instilled that much confidence, you know. He was such a motivator. You couldn't help. You just couldn't help but go out there. I mean, there's times we'd be, just before we go out, we'd be trying to bust the door, the dressing room door, to get out and go onto the pitch.
Yeah.
He was that so, he got us so motivated. It's incredible. Yeah. He was an incredible man indeed, really was, you know. Yeah. I know, it's just kind of diverging. He'd take us to training and change of atmosphere, and he took us to Blackpool on the 4 days, and he even took us out on a Monday night. And we went to a nightclub and everything. He took us out, yeah. And then he had us training on the afternoon, the following afternoon, and he actually killed us. Yeah. It took it two and a half hours training on the beaches, and then he took us to where did he take us there? Oh, the Blackpool Baths, and they had the gymnasium there, and he had us training in the gym, with the ball and everything. And we got back, we were absolutely shattered. Had a meal, and then obviously we went to bed. But he was that way inclined, and he was such an inspiration. It was just unbelievable, unbelievable.
You
And
mentioned you mentioned Terry Bly there.
Yeah,
and it's always
Terry
been
Bly.
a bit of a mystery to me. He got 28 goals, I think, that season.
I know, yeah.
And then after the United Cup tie, Jimmy went out and bought George Hudson.
That's right.
And Terry Bly was frozen out.
Yeah.
What do you think was the problem there?
Well, is later on you realise that you don't mess around with Jimmy. You mess around with Jimmy and you're a goner. And I think there must have been something, a bust up or something, because like you say, after that his son just kind of is completely gone.
Yeah.
And I'll give you an example. You had it with Gibbo.
Yeah.
When we played at Carlisle, you had a bust up. You had it with Barry Lowe. Do you remember Barry Lowe?
Barry Lowe's, yeah.
Yeah, he was another one. But this one was in Barbados.
Yeah.
Close season. He didn't perform, and Jimmy went absolutely ballistic and told him he would never play another game for Coventry City Football Club. And he went and sold him as soon as he got back. So you kind of, if you upset JH, right, then you're a goner.
Yeah.
He would, I mean, another example you probably heard about with Ronnie. He nearly sold Ronnie before Ronnie even knew anything about it. Ronnie Farmer. So that was with JH. He didn't stand any messing at all.
So you think Terry Bly in some way upset him?
I think that must be the only reason, Jim, because I mean, he was getting goals. Yeah. Every game, and he'd give you 110%. It was unbelievable. But that was JH all over. I mean, when he bought the forward line, Bobby Maverick?
Bobby Laverick, yeah.
Yeah. When he bought the forward line, he didn't perform, so he soon got rid of him. This is when Ronnie made his debut. Yeah. JH, he didn't stand any messing.
No.
If you didn't perform, if you didn't give you 100%, you were out. It's as simple as that.
So moving on to the following season, that was the third division championship season.
Yeah.
When the team were roaring away at the top at Christmas. I think they were 9. Yeah. And then you had that awful slump. I think it was 11 games without the win.
That's right.
And they slipped to second and third place, and then
finally
came good and won promotion on the last day. But
that's right.
What do you think that slump was all about?
I think is one or two reasons. I think one of the main reasons was that one or two of us just suddenly kind of lost confidence, and we weren't performing well at all, and things weren't, little things weren't going quite right, and excuse. It was kind of real low ebb at that time, at the particular time. But then he kind of suddenly he got us out of that problem, and like you say, even that Saturday, we got promotion. We won 1-0, but it was a terrible game, Jim. It really was. We didn't play well at all. But obviously Colchester had chances, on that day. Obviously I wasn't playing. I was left out, but you can see there's a picture that's floating around in the dressing rooms afterwards where we were all celebrating with champagne and that. And obviously I was there with suited and booted, like. But that was that was a rough time, that was, Jim, in that period. But like say, everything has just turned around for us at the right time.
Yeah, just looking at you didn't play that many games that season, did you?
No.
You came back into the side at the end of March.
Yeah.
And played the last. We didn't play against Coventry. We played seven out of 8 games, and you're only on the losing side once at Peterborough.
Yeah.
So that Peterborough game was something else, wasn't it?
You know, I don't remember that very much about that game, Jim.
That was a game when City allegedly took 12,000 fans to Peterborough.
Oh, that was Christmas time.
No. It was the last but one game of the season.
Oh, yeah. I remember it now, Jim. Yeah. Did we get beat?
Yeah, 2-0.
Yeah, 2-0. That's right. But do you know what I remember more than anything about that game? Was on the way back, there was, I think, 3 or 4 Coventry coaches, right, had stopped at this pub, and all the supporters, right, were having a drink. So he made you, with the driver, stop the coach, made us all get off and go in there, join the supporters, have a drink, and apologise for our performance. That's
really?
what he did. Yeah,
Really?
yeah. And do you know what? The supporters absolutely idolised us. You know, they forgave us, and God knows why. This was JH all over, wasn't it? Yeah. You know, it made us go on and actually go and apologise and say, hey, listen, sorry. You know, all the support, all you guys pay good money to watch us and support us, and obviously we let you down. Yeah, it's incredible. But that's the type of guy he was, you know.
Dieter, I'm conscious of the time. We've had about an hour on it, and
have we?
Yeah,
that's gone quick. Yeah.
You probably need to have a lie down, don't you?
No, Anne and I were going to go out for a power walk now.
Oh right. Have you lie down later?
No,
it's been really good. You enjoyed doing it?
I've really enjoyed it. Yeah. I mean, talking to you, seeing you, but bringing back all these happy memories. You know, which is it's great, so dear to me. You know, and well,
we haven't touched on the sort of first division days yet, so maybe can we have another session?
Yes, yeah. You name it.
Okay. Well, let's talk offline and fix another time, and then I'll see if I can get this video loaded up onto the YouTube.
All right then, Jim. So yeah, I'll give us a ring then, and then we'll set you up. Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. It's been